Welcome back, everybody, to Game of Pros. Thanks for everyone who's watching or listening. We have a really important show today. Big breaking news out of Philadelphia and Indianapolis. Carson Wentz was traded over to Indy for a couple draft picks. But before really diving into that, we're going to pay homage. We're going to spend a few minutes talking about really unfortunate news. Vincent Jackson, 38 years old, was found dead in Florida just a couple days ago. This guy was a monster, receiver, absolute stud on the field, second round pick by the Chargers in 2005. I believe 11 or 12-year career, a go-to receiver for Phillip Rivers, and then a big play guy for Tampa Bay for a few years. Gentlemen, what were your reactions when that happened, when you heard about this?
I was shocked, man. Especially seeing the news that he's only 38 years old. You think of Vincent Jackson as being a big-time player, ages ago. The fact that he's passed now, he was only 38. I think he was in the league as recently as 2014. It was a huge shock. Kind of came out of left field. And I was devastated. I don't know if you guys did it. I know that I had him on at least a couple fantasy teams of mine. Wasn't a league winner, but he was a stud for the Bucs for a long time, and obviously for the Chargers before that. So very sad.
Yeah, no, it was definitely shocking. I think it was a little deflating for the city of Tampa. Definitely, it's kind of like you go from that high, from that Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden you hear a terrible news like this. And I believe it happened near Tampa, Brandon, Florida. It's the first time I hear about it, but it's in the Tampa area. So it wasn't like he, was out of the city. He was still amongst the community of Tampa. And it's just, I think it's a big blow. One of my memories of him is just his fight. He always had like a never quit mentality. Like he was just always running those routes. It didn't matter. Like I remember when he would catch those balls and get those first downs, he was always hyped. And he was a red zone. I mean, he was 6'5". He was a beast, man, watching him play. But yeah, sad news.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. Like, even without getting into the details of what happened, just on the field and fantasy wise, he's a name that not a lot of people think of, right? But Mike brought up fantasy. Our inaugural season, I had this guy on my first team ever in 2011. I had to look it up, but I had a feeling, just like Mike did. Like I'm pretty sure I've had B-Jacks, at least a couple years. Second round pick out of Colorado in 2005, 63rd all time in receiving yards, 64th all time in yards per reception at 16.8. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think of VJax, this guy was a deep threat, 6'5", 230, a rare combination of a size and speed. And, he had hands, he had it all. I mean, and then he's 100th all time in receiving touchdowns at 57, 9,000 yards, 57 touchdowns. The dude was a beast. And it's just sad to see the news. It's one of those things when, fantasy and sports, we're all into that stuff, meets reality, and you start to read some of the things that happen to these players, at post their careers. But 38 years old, it's I can't get past that. The fan favorite in San Diego and Tampa, like you said, he was still a big part of that community. A four-time Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. He did a lot for military families. So just, thoughts and prayers to his family and to everyone that's affected. It's just really bad news. And
Yeah,
Very
I believe he
significant.
was I believe he was also a three-time Pro Bowler. I don't know if you mentioned that, but um, no, he had really good years with Rivers. In Tampa, he ran into a little bit of a wall, but I mean, in San Diego, he was a beast. I remember that.
Yeah.
well, yeah, I mean, there's no easy way to transition from that to some of the other stuff that's happening around the league, but everyone's talking about it. Big trade. Everyone's kind of expected it. Apparently, even Washington was interested in calling Philadelphia. What's the price? What's the asking price? Well, we found that out a couple days ago. It's a third rounder this year and a conditional second rounder next year. That second rounder, if Wentz, I believe, plays more than 75% of the snaps next year, will be a first rounder. So Philadelphia going into, let's say 2 years from now, could have 2 first-round picks. I mean, Carlos, you're the Philadelphia Eagles fan, lifelong. You were there for their parade. You were there when it
Yeah,
happened, when they won, when they beat the Patriots. How did you feel about this trade?
it was a tough one to swallow. Just because as a Philly fan, I really thought Wentz was going to be the guy in Philly. I mean, we paid him like he was. And to see him go for a third and second round pick, potentially first, it was really shocking. I mean, what's more shocking is, what did other teams offer? Like, I mean, I'm sure the Redskins could afford to do the same offer to them. But I guess I don't know. But uh, I mean, we're getting hit with what, more than $30 million in dead money. I believe that's a lot of money to. I mean, basically, we're going back to rebuilding mode. But I don't know how with that cap hit. I was looking at Miles Sanders. It could jeopardize even Miles Sanders in the future. That's the only signing I can see in the near future that money, could have come back and haunt us. But yeah, just shocking to see.
Definitely shocking to see the price tag, at least, that was attached. Rumors have been going around when it was first announced that Wentz would be on the market, and what the Eagles were touting was 2 first-round picks. No talk of picking up part of his contract. They undoubtedly would have to because he was just owed so much. But 2 first-rounders combined with that dead cap hit seemed like a much more, I guess, a much more swallowable pill for Eagles fans out there. But the fact that it's a third, maybe a first, with how the Colts look, it's probably going to be a late first. You're talking about, probably 25th pick on, combined with a third rounder, and then it was 33.8 was the cap hit number, which is great for the Colts. I mean, the Colts ended up getting a guy who they think could put him over the hump. He reconnects with Frank Reich, who obviously was with the Eagles when they made that Super Bowl run. And some might argue that, that Reich was the genius behind that. In the beginning of Doug Peterson's tenure, he had been kind of the butt of a lot of jokes. They end up winning that Super Bowl. Now Wentz gets to reconnect with Reich in Indy. And for Indy, I mean, it's a no-lose situation. They send over a third rounder, a late first rounder, or a late second rounder. They get a chance at their quarterback. If he gets hurt, which he's been known to do in the past, and doesn't play 70% of the snaps, then they've lost, then it's still a second rounder. And sure, he's making $25 million this year, but Indy had the money to spend. And after that, he's owed nothing. They can cut him after this year and start fresh with someone else. So it's a 1-year rental, cost them a third, likely a second or a late first, and they think they might have their guy.
Yeah, and going back to Carlos' point about the Eagles and their salary cap situation, I think that is probably why it was tough to move him. And and some of these experts were already talking about that mid-season when Wentz, or near the end of the season when there was rumors about Wentz asking to be moved. Everyone was saying, well, he's got an impossible contract to move. It's going to be hard for a team to want to take that contract and give up draft picks. Like it was a tough situation. It came down to the Colts. Were the Colts going to be the ones sending some assets back to Philadelphia? It was always the Colts, right? Maybe the Bears. I think the Bears were in the fight for Wentz, but for the Eagles, I mean, they take the big cap hit, but it's all in just next year, right? They're taking that whole hit next year. They just cut Deshaun Jackson today. I do think they're in rebuild mode, and I think in a couple years, they're going to have some more draft picks, clear up some cap space. I think it's full rebuild mode, for them. And I wouldn't put it past them that they're in that first top half of the draft in round 1 this year. They might try to move up and use those same assets to go and grab like a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance or somebody like that. I wouldn't put it past them if they're not convinced that Hurts is their guy. And with that GM, you just don't know. He'll draft Wentz, and then he'll draft Hurts, and then he probably will move up and draft Trevor Lawrence. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
how did you feel about Hurts? To just in reading Eagles news, do you think that they believe that Hurts is the guy going forward, or
they absolutely have to give him a chance?
I think we have to give him a chance. That's why I think if we run with him for a year, see what we have, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the team going in rebuild mode altogether. I mean, Cox got to go. We have so many players that need to go that have been there too long. We got to let, our younger talent, see what we have, right now we have a young running back who's pretty good. It's definitely, we got a few young wide receivers, in Rager and, even our tight ends are still, pretty young still. Dallas Goedert is still there. We still have Ertz, so I'm okay with going in full rebuild mode. But like going back to what Dennis said, the Colts were the perfect team to land Wentz. I think what solidified that was when the Stafford and Goff trade solidified Wentz going to the Colts. With Frank Reich there, there's that relationship aspect with the Eagles. Wentz and Reich together again. It fit like a glove. But still, way.
Do you think that the Eagles considered that when moving Wentz? I mean, all the reports that came out had kind of said that Wentz didn't want to go to the Bears, that he wanted to go to Indy. Do you think that it could be possible that the Bears had a better offer and the Eagles didn't go for it because Wentz wanted to go to Indy?
Probably. Yeah. I definitely think it was one of those things where Wentz wasn't, Wentz's choice was involved and stuff. So
that a division definitely. Too. I mean, they may never have to face Wentz again. I mean,
right.
Very true.
Perfect situation for Wentz. I mean, he's gonna kill it in Indy. He has all the right talent around him. He has a beast line. I mean, so he's gonna be really good next year.
Yeah, great line. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's only gonna get better. Kid's a freak. Nyheim Hines, balled out last year. Pittman has really shown up. They have Mo Alley Cox.
Burton.
Yeah.
Burton.
Yeah. Right.
They played together before, right? They were teammates in Philly.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. So
it's almost like
for Wentz for sure.
All they need is to just pick up a number 1 receiver. You still have Hilton there, but you got to put him in the slot, or something.
A little note on Ty.
I said
Little
he
note
can't
on,
burn
on
guys
Ty.
like he
I
used
think
to.
I think Ty Hilton is going to get cut. Actually, he's going into this. He's going into this year. I believe he's owed something like 15 mil.
Yeah. You know who else is going to get cut?
Might even be a free agent.
Alshon Jeffrey's going to get cut for sure.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if he makes it a full season next year.
I don't think he's ever played a full season.
Even with the Bears?
I don't think Alshon Jeffries has ever played 16 games. Somebody's got to look that up. But
I'm going to look it up
I don't think so.
And then what's up with the Philadelphia and their injury bug? I mean, are you guys going to sign Jason Peters, your left tackle, for another 15 years? And he's going to fall down every 4 or 5 plays with like a sprained or torn ankle. And then he's going to hobble over to the sideline and then beg to go back in just for the same exact situation.
He's a warrior, man.
5 minutes
he has
later.
Heart. Bless the man. He has heart.
Lane Johnson, Jesus Christ.
I know, bro. We still got Kelsey, bro. I mean, our line is like, it's so, I'm so happy Wentz can just, not,
you have to
break
wonder
another leg or something.
And why even try? Washington's going to dominate for the next 13 or 14 years, probably.
Throw the towel, man.
Right. Save some money.
Yeah.
Don't even try. Alshon Jeffrey played 16 games twice, 3 times. Last time played 16 games 2017, 2014, and his Pro Bowl season 2013. It was a sophomore season.
So it's like every 2-3 years he'll play full season.
He actually had 105 rushing yards in that Pro Bowl season too. Anybody else know that? I did not know that.
Sounds like that Percy Harvin stat.
Yeah.
Who led the Super Bowl in
rushing yards than Marshawn Lynch in that Super Bowl? Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Philadelphia's got a lot of guys they can just cut and save cap, and but I don't know. I don't know about that general manager. I mean, the report was Carson just lost complete trust in their ability to build around him. I mean, his head coach was gone. His quarterback's coach was gone. Wentz won another. You have to wonder if when Wentz thought about and asked to be traded, allegedly, if he already had pinpointed where he wanted to go.
Right.
And Philadelphia helped him get there. So
yeah,
I kind of hope that happens with Watson.
We kind of talked about it on the chat. I mean, I think it's more than possible. I don't know what would be so difficult about it, but just for, if the Bears are going to make a real effort to get him, for his agents to call them and say he doesn't want to play there. You don't want to start a relationship like this. Don't bother going out and putting in this crazy offer for him, because you're going to regret it. He doesn't want to be there, and he's not going to play like it. You don't want a guy like that leading your locker room, being the captain of your entire team who when you start off on a bad foot like that.
You guys saw Wentz is already FaceTiming and messaging his teammates, super stoked. I think it's gonna go well.
Happy since they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Smile on his face.
When he was on the bench. He looked. I mean, last year he looked miserable at playing football. It wasn't there anymore for him. Supposedly, he's also he had lost the locker room as well. I mean, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it started from the top and it went down, all the way down to Wentz, because Peterson got, he got let go too. So I think the pressure started from the top, on Peterson, and then Peterson relationship with Wentz didn't go well after that. And then the fact that they drafted Jalen Hurts too, that really hurt Wentz feeling. So.
Right after that massive extension was 128 million.
And I never understood that. I never understood why we picked up Jalen Hurts.
And that's why we're having the same conversation about Rodgers and Love. They take a quarterback in the first round when they still have, what a lot of people would argue is the best quarterback in the league. Well,
Yeah.
after Mahomes, but that doesn't count.
Well, after Taylor Heineke.
Right. Well, Taylor Heineke, Mahomes, kind of 1 and 1A, and then Rodgers a close second.
Yeah. I mean, Wentz was throwing to guys like Fulgham and Richard Rodgers last year.
Terrible, man.
Yeah.
He made Fulgham look pretty good
season.
for a couple games.
Yeah.
I remember midpoint last year, I had finally positioned myself to be first in waivers. Super excited. I was like 1 and 4, and I needed a receiver bad, or just some playmaker. And there was 2 guys. It was Travis Fulgham, who had come off a sick game, and Chase Claypool, who had come off of his 4 touchdown game. And it was the toughest decision I've made on the wire ever. And I got to the point where I asked Betta, my wife, I said, hey, she doesn't know anything about these guys. So I'm like, what name sounds better to you? Travis Fulgham or Chase Claypool? And she's like, Claypool sounds kind of like a douche. And I was like, well, I'm going with him. So.
Oh, no.
So she had no bearing in that at all.
Yeah, it was almost like, which one do you want? And I'm going to go with the other guy. We have a weird dynamic in this house. I don't know.
That's how decisions are made. One of you decides one thing, and then you immediately go the other direction.
Spot on. Spot on.
That's the only way to be.
It worked out. I liked Fulgham, but Claypool was getting freaking 12 targets a game after that.
Claypool, I mean, talent-wise, I think Claypool was the clear choice. He was a rookie. He was kind of a wild card out there. You didn't know what you were going to get out of him. Travis Fulgham had a solid couple games, but I mean, he's been around the league. If it was going to happen, it probably would have happened by now. And I think Chase was the clear choice, and I think for next year too, Chase Claypool is way up there in my rankings.
True. I was thinking about that actually recently, about whether I'd take him again. But actually sticking with I don't want to throw a curveball at you guys, but sticking with Pittsburgh, did you guys hear what happened with the general manager or like the scout director for Pittsburgh that came out and said it was just a very like poor vote of confidence for Big Ben. Like, yeah, we know Big Ben wants to come back, but we really have to look at that.
I think what he said was at this moment, as I sit here in this chair, Ben Roethlisberger is a Steeler. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
Which doesn't bode well for Ben. I mean, it doesn't really matter for Ben. The Steelers have no option but to re-sign him. If they release him, I think they're still on the hook for like $25 million in cap, whereas he's owed. I think he might be owed close to 40. But it's you're not gonna unload him unless you eat most of that contract. You're not gonna release him and have $25 million in dead cap when he can still probably get the job done. And if they do, who takes over? Mason Rudolph? Like, he's the guy in Pittsburgh? That's not gonna happen.
No. So I mean, yeah, it's just this quarterback carousel that the league's been playing. We've talked about Rodgers, now Big Ben and Watson, and now Wentz. It just seems like everyone's kind of up. Russell Wilson. It's incredible. But so you mentioned the Bears, Mike. Where do they go from here? They missed out on the guy, just another guy. I mean, they're probably inquiring for Watson, but Texas is not budging.
What draft pick do they have?
The Bears?
They're way down there.
Okay, so I mean,
they're not going to be able to get. I mean, they can try in the draft, but it just seems like if you're not
20,
they're 20. Wow, I'm shocked. I didn't realize they were that low. But if you're not in the top 5, or if you don't hit it big in the the third round or something, I don't place much faith in the Bears scouting drafting department. I mean, they took Mitch Trubisky over Deshaun Watson.
Did they take him over Mahomes?
And Mahomes and Watson. So I don't really trust their scouting department when it comes to quarterbacks. I don't think they're going to have any choice but to, sign a veteran, maybe get Ryan Fitzpatrick out there, see if he can sling it, but sling it to who? I mean, Allen Robinson, I think their GM came out today or yesterday and said that they've had no talks with Allen Robinson about re-signing. So he's gone for sure.
Well, they could franchise him. They could put the tag on him.
They could. I don't know if they will. From everything I've seen, it looks like Baltimore is probably a favor or a probable landing spot for Robinson, which would be great for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna make a move during the draft. What move? I don't know, but I think if there isn't anything out there, I mean, there is a lot of options. There's a lot of rumors right now with quarterbacks, but nobody's actually like, there's nothing solid out there. So I mean, as of right now, as of today, I think they'll make a move in the draft. But if you see one of those quarterbacks, get really serious about leaving, and you start hearing talks, of players, being shopped around, then I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears pick up one of those quarterbacks. Who? I mean, I just don't see Watson wanting to play for the Bears. I see Watson going to Miami, but I mean, it might be one of those middle tier quarterbacks like a Fitzpatrick, like Mike mentioned and stuff. So even Foles. Oh no, they had Foles.
Well, he's the only quarterback that's left on their roster.
Okay, I mean, go with Foles. Give him a chance.
Well, they should have done that. They should have done that last year. I think with them starting with Trubisky, and then having Foles steal the job probably was the wrong move. I think they should have started with Foles, lit a fire under Trubisky, see if he could steal the job back. I think that probably would have worked out a little bit better than the way they went about it.
I'm so unaware of Chicago. I thought it was the other way around. I thought they started with Foles and either he got hurt or something, and then Mitch came in and actually did a pretty good job towards the end of the year. But yeah, it's just a bad situation. They have the 20th pick. They don't have a good starting quarterback. I would hate to be a Bears fan right now, where you're in a division with Kirk Cousins, who's okay in Minnesota, Aaron Rodgers, arguably the best quarterback in the league, and then Detroit has their quarterback now in Goff. They're rebuilding. It's a tough situation.
Yeah, they're kind of feeling like Eagle fans right now.
Maybe Oakland comes in and gives them either Carr or Mariota.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a team that right now has two quarterbacks that are, they're good. They're good, decent quarterbacks, and in a market right now where everyone's super hungry for one, I don't know.
Could be worth it. I don't know. I just think if I were a team in the AFC West, I would feel so defeated, because what are you supposed to do? I mean, you have to compete. Not only do you have to play Mahomes and the Chiefs twice a year, you have to try and win that division. It seems like an impossible mountain to climb.
Now Herbert is in San Diego. No, sorry, not San Diego. Los Angeles.
LA.
Yeah.
Herbert looks pretty good. I'm excited for next year for the Chargers.
You gonna scoop Eckler first round?
No, I'm taking Heineke, bro.
You don't think he's the first round?
No, I'm taking Heineke. I mean, if you guys take Eckler, I have no problem with that.
I remember towards the end of the year last year, when Eckler was putting up like 30 points per game in PPR, I'm like, if Eckler had not gotten hurt, I think Clackey would have ran away with this thing, man.
Don't get me started on injuries, bro.
Yeah.
Last year was terrible.
That was horrible for everybody.
What a terrible year last year with injuries.
Yeah.
They were falling like flies.
You had a good year. Hey, what's your punishment?
I was in last place.
What's your punishment, man? You already shaved your mustache.
You guys still have to.
Oh yeah.
Doing you jumping
I
into
don't know.
the Atlantic Ocean?
But naked?
If you want. Nobody said
That's-
anything.
If that's your suggestion, man, if that's your thing.
I mean, if I'm gonna jump in, I'd rather go in butt naked.
I'm not gonna be
well,
able
I'm
to be
excited.
there. I'm not gonna be able to be there to enjoy it. So if you just send me like a box of steaks or something, I'll take that.
Okay. Box of steak. I'll look into
Omaha Steaks. They
I-
do steak night right, y'all. Steak night
Okay.
right.
I want to
What if
eat
I
the
send you some of
crisp original.
some of these?
Right.
What if I send you some of these? Have you
What are
guys had
those?
these?
That just
I
Peanuts.
Old
hate
Bay
Old
seasoning.
Bay.
Oh,
Old
Bay
Bay
is
peanuts.
disgusting, bro.
What?
I
Old
thought he
Bay
was
is
just-
nasty.
I thought he was just dipping his finger in like Old Bay seasoning.
Mm.
I feel like a lot of people from Baltimore do that.
All right,
I was
gentlemen.
partying in Baltimore, and they pour it on the rim of their beer can while they're drinking it, like it's tahini. It's gross.
True. Hey, well, I'm excited to eventually talk more about fantasy. Maybe we can recap 2020, talk about how healthy Mike's team was for the entire year, and how Carlos should definitely trade more, way more than he does.
Why don't you make any moves, Los?
I made like almost 200 acquisitions last year.
I think you made about 40 before the season even started.
I think so.
And we drafted
I
like
mean-
a week before the season started.
Yeah, I think I had 2 trades in before the season started.
Yeah.
And
Why
I
don't you
think
just
before the
draft a
year,
team you like?
I think
before
I
the year-
traded Mahomes by week 2.
you had a solid team, man. And I think before the year, you had said, "I'm not going to be trading this year."
I told myself, man. I that's always my strategy. You guys always say, what strategy? My head is like, do not trade. Do not trade.
Sometimes
you
it
do the
works for
complete
you.
It's just like, like the year started off kind of like very slow. Like nobody was trying to make moves and nobody wanted to trade, right? And I was just like, let
I
me
need
just
some drama in my life.
let me trade Mahomes away.
You have to make an offer that no one can refuse.
Yeah.
I'll give you Mahomes for Brady, straight up.
Oh, God.
Let's make some moves.
So tell us a little bit about that next time. I want to hear it next time. Maybe we'll bring Nestor on. I don't know, but I want to hear how that trade happened. Anyways, gentlemen, hopefully I'll see you in a couple days. We talk about some cap casualties. All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Later,
See you
y'all.
guys.
fellas.
Go Birds.
Bert.